GrokTALK.
What if your take-home pay went down 25%? Where would you cut back? What would you do without? Senator Jeanne Shaheen cast the deciding vote for Obamacare. Now, employers may cut your weekly work hours from 40 to 29 to avoid the new taxes and penalties. Fewer hours, less money, tougher times. Tell Senator Shaheen you can't afford Obamacare.
3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com.
GrokTALK.
Welcome back to GrokTALK. And I just switched my headphones and I sound weird now. Okay, more technical difficulties. Every week we're doing something screwy here. Welcome to the program. It is Saturday, October 25th, 2014. Happy birthday, Kimberly. And happy birthday to my son Zach, who's also having a birthday today.
Oh, my goodness.
And all you other people who are having birthdays today. Happy birthday. We don't want to leave you out. We'll get hate mail.
And in about 3 days, it is happy 50th birthday to Ronald Reagan's famous Time for Choosing speech.
Wow.
Well, that's an important birthday, day of celebration.
And that's one of the most famous political speeches of all time, in which Ronald Reagan drew the bold distinctions between socialism and liberty.
And here we are today.
And here we are, fighting for our liberty.
Enjoying socialism, yes.
Yes, thank
Not
you
so
very
much.
much,
Not so much,
Democrats. Anyway.
Thank you very much, Republicans, who have been going along with this since Nelson Rockefeller.
Well, we've got a couple of Republicans coming in today who would like to fight the socialism, and we'd like to tell you who those folks are. David DeVoy. And these are all running for the House, New Hampshire House. Christine Ivinjack. And yeah, I had to look up how to spell that, but thankfully somebody else told me how. And Guy Comtois, all coming in this morning.
Actually, Dave DeVoy is running for county commissioner.
County commissioner.
In Belknap County.
Belknap. See, I got
Right.
that wrong.
That's okay.
Belknap County
But
commissioner.
he's really, we have such a group, a tight-knit group of progressives in Belknap for the
I heard
commissioners.
a lot of stories about county commissioners in Belknap County.
Yes, so he's going to run and maybe take one of those seats, and yes, it will be good for the taxpayer.
It's lore. It's county commissioner lore.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's always good.
You
And
folks-
anything that reduces the burden is good.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Jane Cormier is here today, and Mike Rogers. Skip has the day off. We're saying hi because he should be at home watching. Unless he's
So
asleep.
once more, you have an entire room full of crazy Tea Party extremists. Welcome to GrokTALK.
Yeah, we're going to do nutty things like tell you that you should have more choices in your own life than have the government run it for you. That that the money, no matter how much it is easier for you to manage and control when it's closer to you than in Washington D.C. We're going to say nutty things like it's your money. Oh wait, it's your money. You earned it. We're
You
gonna
mean
say
it didn't
crazy
come off
things
that,
like that
federal tree?
No.
Didn't
we're
grow
gonna,
off
we're gonna
that
say
federal
these are the
tree.
nutty.
No, only if you're a crony of Jeanne Shaheen, and she brought the money to New Hampshire for you.
Nutty Tea Party ideas.
Well,
like,
don't forget now, Medicaid expansion. The federal government's paying for it, right? It's that free money off the federal tree because
For a little while, and then we get stuck with the bill.
Yeah, no
and
kidding.
anytime anybody votes to do one of those things, one of two things is going to happen. Either the program is going to sunset, and the people that were depending on it, whether or not you think they should be on it, are going to get hurt,
Right.
or it's going to come as a burden on the taxpayers. And if you think they're not planning to put a broad-based income or sales tax in New Hampshire, just watch their actions. Anytime they ratchet up the spending or put you on the hook for a future liability that they have no idea how they're going to pay, when the day of reckoning comes, it's your pocket, your wallet is on the line.
right, and it's called incrementalism too because they won't tell you that, of course, up front. Right, they've got to get that subsidy in there, and then they've got to come up with the hysteria of, oh my God, how are we going to fund it now that the federal government and our tax dollars are no longer funding it, and then they'll sneak it in. You see, because they can't come out and say we want that.
Right.
Right.
And I'm going to actually be somewhat sympathetic to the corner that Walt was painted into in the debate. When he was asked if you would have vetoed this if it passed your desk, he said yes. When they said, you said you were going to repeal this, he said no. And I think there's a reason for that. It already happened. There's already people on it. People who were paying for, maybe not so good, but paying for their own health plans were suckered off of their health plans into Medicaid. If we just summarily chop it at this point, all those people get hurt. And it's the Republican senator's fault. Let's not forget that. So now if you're faced with the choice, what do I do now? The answer is you try and turn the mess you've got into something else. You can't summarily stop it, and you can't wait till 2017 and kick the can down the road, and you'll get a broad-based income tax. So I think you have to do what he said and fix it. That's not a palatable word. I would like to prefer...
Is that possible, though?
I would prefer to hear the words repeal and replace,
Right.
but that's the whole point. You've got to do something that will give those folks a choice of health care, preferably not 100% funded by the taxpayer.
Right. Well, I think that the flack came up because at the beginning he did say that he was for replacing it early in the campaign.
Yeah.
And then that came out to be a non-palatable response because we all know that that's just not sensible. Leaders lead, and, leaders come up with other ideas. And so what he did, rather than come up with a good communication about what can be done, he just sort of said, well, we can't really repeal. We have to kind of try to fix it. Well, that's what you get when you change the definition of what Medicaid is supposed to cover. And here we are, right? So now we have this big debacle of how we're going to cover all of these folks, the majority of which that are now on New Hampshire Medicaid expansion dropped their own plans to jump onto the dole because the definition of Medicaid changed with the Republicans that voted for this.
Exactly.
And shame on them.
Very much shame on them. And, as I think I put in one of my comments under a post, basically he's going to be saying, and I've got to fix this mess that I inherited from the Republican Senate.
Yeah.
and we're never going to stop blaming the Republican Senate for those problems because those are the folks who got us into it.
Absolutely. Knowingly.
They wrote the bill that only half of their own membership voted for and all of the Democrats voted for. In other words, they wrote a gift to the Democrats.
They certainly
keep in mind that their argument was that they didn't have a choice, that there were Republicans who were going to vote for it anyway, and they were trying to soften the blow. Doesn't make a difference. Now, we can't leave the Democrats out, because the only reason the Republican Senate created a bill in the first place is because the Democrats made it impossible for them to not pass one. So we were going to get this one way or the other.
I disagree.
Stiles and what's-his-face were going to vote for it.
Fight for it.
It was going to pass.
Fight for it.
I don't disagree with you.
Fight for it. I mean, we stood in those committee hearings. A group of us went and stood up and looked the senators in the eye, and we looked everyone that we could in the eye to say, fight for what is right here. Do not cave. And to me, that was the worst thing they did.
Stiles was always going to
Bipartisan, folks. Did you watch the debates this week?
Yeah.
New Hampshire won. How many times did we hear the Democrat beat us with the word bipartisan? Bipartisan.
Bipartisan to them means that we cross the aisle and go their way.
Right.
It never means the other.
Absolutely.
Compromise means we're the ones that are compromised.
We did.
Which is a dirty word. When a lady is compromised, it's a bad thing. Right. When your integrity is compromised, it's a bad thing.
And there is the difference.
When you compromise with a Democrat, you compromise your integrity.
Well, there used to be a time, at least, 30 years ago, when you look and you saw like Tip O'Neill maybe working with somebody that they came across the aisle and something good. Look at what happened with welfare when Clinton was in, right?
When Newt Gingrich got face-to-face with Clinton and said, we're going to work together to fix this.
Right, and they did.
You can't have it your way.
Right, but you see, they did work it out, right?
Yes.
But that rarely happens. That rarely happens now. Now it's just capitulate. You capitulate everything, and you call it bipartisan. But you know what? It's the Republicans that take the heat. When are they going to wake up?
Exactly. So, my position throughout all of this is that the party leadership, including the Senate president, but especially the party chair, should have been saying to these folks, we do not support this. It will end badly. We need you to vote against it. And by the way, you can't count on our support next cycle if you do vote for it.
There is no leadership. Therein lies the issue. How many problems that we've had in this last 2 years have come to the party because of lack of Republican leadership?
How are they so bad at messaging?
I don't know.
How is it that they're so bad at it?
Because I think they're part of the problem.
Even the ones that are mostly conservative have a problem simply saying, this is how it has to be if we're going to keep our freedoms. The people that do say that, like Bill O'Brien, get castigated for it.
Right.
We get castigated for it, and I think it's wrong. So I'm gonna actually take the problem all the way to the top. Do we believe that Papa Sununu actually wants us to have socialism in New Hampshire, actually wants us to have a broad-based tax? Or is he allowing this to happen through inaction? In other words, he's helped to choose these senators. He's helped to choose and back the party chair that we now have, ineffective as she is. And yet, and these people are the ones that are giving us Medicaid expansion and all the traps that will eventually lead us to a broad-based tax. Do we believe that, therefore, it is deliberate intent from the Sununu camp, or is it that in their attempt to get some malleable people into place, they found out that the people have got no spines?
I don't know. I think that it could be some of both of it. I don't personally believe that they're pushing for socialism.
I don't think so either.
But
having watched Sununu Senior face-to-face with Fred Thompson, of all people, who's normally conservative, arguing the toss in favor of the Electoral College as opposed to this incremental proportional representation that the socialists want, I think the guy understands it and gets it. The problem is, I believe that in his desire to keep control over the party,
there it is.
He's allowing or encouraging malleable people. And
malleable people meaning people that he can control with what he believes is the proper message.
The problem is that those people are equally easily pushed around by the Democrats.
Of course. Of course. So you know what? We have the politics of access going on, I think. I think that's what the problem is. Because I believe that those that are running the party machinery believe that they know best what the message is. They believe they have their finger right on the pulse of the American public. And I think that their whole perspective is incorrect. They have bought into the leftist media message that, quote, Tea Party's a loser, right? So they'll start beating Tea Party members within their own party who just happen to be the base of the entire party here in New Hampshire. And it's been the strongest base in New Hampshire for as long as I've been looking at it.
I don't think they think they speak for the people. I think they're just interested in being in charge.
Yeah.
I think it's
co-opted into that.
They're not so much interested in what the grassroots wants.
No, not at all.
They're interested in just being at the top of the pile. They
Absolutely.
want to be in Concord. They want to be in D.C. They want to have the right connections. They want to have the right voices. They want to get invited to the right parties.
Yes.
The only reason they back the First in the Nation primary is because everybody comes here and they get paid attention to, and that's what they want.
I agree with you 100% about that. I think they arrived at that place, though. Not because they believed in the grassroots or anything. I 100% agree with that. I mean, they would bash us as quick as they could bash a Democrat.
And they do. And they do it
because we represent a threat to their authority.
To their power, right. And it's corrupt. It is corrupt. When you start playing the game to maintain your grip on control and power of the machinery, you have now usurped the whole purpose of what we're supposed to be about.
Yeah, and we deride the Democrats over Tammany Hall and their smoke-filled bank rooms, but we have exactly that. And let me tell you, party leadership, there are enough people out here that wish that those smoke-filled back rooms that you make your deals in would catch fire and burn the party down.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately.
I got yet another person step up to me yesterday at the breakfast for Merrill Linda, which was attended by Mike Pence as well. And Mike Pence, by the way, is a great speaker, and I have video of that. And, the same thing, how can we persuade some of your people that, we need to vote for Scott Brown and Walt Havenstein? And I said, you know what? The party has pushed these people on us, and a lot of us feel that what we really want is for the state GOP to burn to the ground so we can start over.
Isn't that a sad thing, huh? I find that a sad message. But what's left when you have tried in every venue to grab attention, to make them hear what the folks are saying? Because the folks do not want these moderates running the show in our party here in New Hampshire.
No. Well, as Steve put it most excellently, and I'll let him grab credit for the coining of the word. When you have a state party which looks like Jeb Bradley,